Sudhanshu. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for giving me time for my pot breaking barriers.
It's entirely my pleasure. Anything for Kho Kho.
So, like you said, anything for Kho Kho. But first, let me congratulate you for the stupendous success of the World Cup. What a beautiful, what a wonderful World Cup it was, and the host country winning all the titles.
No, thank you so much. हमारी माटी का खेल है, जीतना तो स्वाभाविक ही है. We should have won it anyway. And I'm very happy the Indian team is really an outstanding team. The kind of competence the both men and women team have, it's amazing. So certainly we deserve to win and we won it. So I'm extremely happy for that.
Like you said, very competent team, and both the teams have performed wonderfully well. Marty, since Matt of your journey, it's been a wonderful journey, and the kind of marketing that the federation has done is so commendable. Idea, जो Metti से Mati.
See, when the present team took over in 2017, we thought of taking it to a larger canvas. So we had this dream that we must set our eyes to its inclusion in Olympics. So we worked backwards. Now, if we have to take it to Olympics, what is it that we are required to do? First is make this a modern game. Second is make this a game which on television is a delight for the spectators. And third is internationalize it in such a way that it gets an outreach globally. Now, with these three primary objectives in mind, we started working on it. So the first one was Mitti To Mat. If it was going to remain on Mitti, then probably taking it to Olympics or those dreams could never have been possible. So what we did was we developed the mat first. Now, we are proud to say that it's an indigenously developed mat. No other game has developed their own mat in India. They all import it elsewhere, but we did it. Why? Because the need for the mat was very unique. The game requires two things. It requires a mat which is not soft enough to be an impediment to the speed of the players, yet it has the sponginess to ensure that when a player lands up on his chest or his shoulder, it absorbs his impact so that the injury is minimized. So these two objectives required the right density of the mat so as to ensure both the objectives. So we must have experimented with at least 25, 30 mats, developing mats at various intensities and then having players to play on them, take their feedback. What is inadequacy? Is it hurting you? Is it not hurting you? Is it impedimenting your speed? All that, and gradually we were able to evolve the mat which now we use. I would not still say that it's a perfect mat, but yes, it's a mat which is globally today acceptable and it is serving our purpose. However, there is scope for improvement, which we shall be doing. So this is the first thing. Second is we said, jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. So how do we create visibility for this game? And that's how the idea of ultimate Kho Kho came to our minds. So we teamed up with Mr. Amit Burman of the Daburs to create the ultimate Kho Kho. It's a league which is a phenomenal league, absolutely phenomenal. Yes. The team owners are some of the best companies in India who are supporting sports. So be it a GMR or be it a Adani or be it a KLO Sports or Capri Capital or the government of Odisha itself, or Puneet Balan, they're all team owners with proven track records. Right, and that to us was a major achievement because that would ensure the continuity of the league. We've had two fantastic seasons, one in Pune, the other in Cuttack, and they both were phenomenal. Sony broadcasted the league live, and that is what took this game to every household. Be it a village or a chowki, dani, wherever there was television, there was Kho Kho. Because you must remember that Kho Kho is one sport which has been played by virtually everybody in this country. It is a sport which required no infrastructure, no money, no nothing. So this tag sport is actually the atma of this country. With everybody having played it, I can see a smile on your face. I'm sure you also played it.
Absolutely.
See, there it comes. So that's basically created the acceptance and the excitement about the game. The third thing was how to make it telegenic. So we did a dummy league and we recorded it and to see how it appears on television and what are the inadequacies. So what we did was we brought in a lot of changes. So from a format where 9 players were chasing the defenders, we got 7 players to chase the defenders. We shortened the field so that the entire field could come on the television. Otherwise, the television was unable to capture the width of the field, and that was an impediment. Then we reduced the time so that to give spectator interest from 9 minutes to 7 minutes an inning. And that
Hmm.
is really something which has helped. And, it brought in pace and speed. We reduced the fouls because, again, too many fouls would rob the spectator of the fun of the game. Then we introduced the concept of a wazir. Now, this is a very interesting concept where this wazir has the liberty of going in any direction while chasing a defender, unlike the other chaser who has to commit himself to only one direction. The wazir could go in both, and that would be the surprise element or the uncomfortable element for any defender. So, all these changes have really made it a very fun sport. Then we said, now let's internationalize it. So the first experiment was the Asian Championship, which we held in Tamilpur in Assam,
Hmm.
because we said not.
Hmm. I remember going and thinking that even.
So I said Northeast is a huge catchment area. Let this be there, and what a success it was, with a huge
Yes,
participation
yes,
of teams,
undoubtedly.
and the standard was amazing. That led us to really spread our wings. Today we are in 55 countries. When we dreamt of the World Cup, we thought we'll have a format of 12 teams each for men and 12 teams for women. But the demand was so huge. Every continent was protesting that we are getting very little representation. From from 12 it increased to 16, then went on to 20. So that was the fun of seeing the excitement of this game globally. So as I said, we are in 55 countries today, aspire to be in 90 countries by the end of this year, so that the global presence becomes complete. Today also, in the World Cup, every continent was represented. If I list the teams, you'll be surprised. We had US, we had Argentina, we
Hmm.
had Peru, we had Brazil, then Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, Germany, Holland, Poland, England. Then we had New Zealand, Australia, South Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia, Iran, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka,
Right.
Bhutan, Nepal. The entire globe was there.
So
And
what
and
kind
and
of a
and one more thing.
message is
And what
this World Cup being
right.
sent to the entire globe?
You see, one thing again, in the World Cup, the participation was that of the locals of those countries, and not the convenient form of the Indian diaspora playing it. We were very clear that the game will only get acceptance if local people of the country are playing it, and we achieved that, and that was the greatest accomplishment. So the World Cup and its standard, because this World Cup set new benchmarks in terms of everything, the quality of the World Cup, the hospitality of the World Cup, the sports sciences, curation of specific, special food for every single team, then the global participation, the opening ceremony, and you name it, technology.
Right,
we
undoubtedly.
we used technology for everything. The operation was largely paperless. We had planned there were 28 specific areas of action, and every area was online on an app. So a lot of technology was used. The message to the globe, to the world is, it's a game which is exciting. It's a game which is speed, reflexes, stamina, strategy. It's a game to be enjoyed, and it's a game of the future. That's what is the message.
What were the other challenges that you and your team faced during, to popularize the sport, to bring in more and more countries together? Like you said, more than 90 countries you're expecting to participate by the end of this year, take up the sport.
It's a very interesting story. Natural disasters are not something uh, to be eulogized or to be looked at with any fondness. I mean, COVID was such a disaster for everybody, for the entire human race. However, COVID brought in some what do I say? Some benefits for Kho Kho.
Hmm.
While when the lockdown took place in India, there was a camp which had some 50, 60 coaches from all over the world. And for the next 9 months, they got stranded in India because of COVID lockdown. Once they were stranded, then for 9 months they were living, dreaming, thinking, eating cocoa. And they got so inspired and they got so involved that once they went back, they fanned out and they created these teams in these 55 countries. So reaching out these countries was a challenge, but the challenge was met differently. Today, the challenge is again that because it's an indigenous game, to introduce a game in a country and then to get the locals playing it, it's not an easy proposition. I have been requesting now the government of India to play a very proactive role in promoting indigenous games. See, government must support the indigenous games because all by themselves, I mean, we as a federation are well equipped to take it so far, but not every other federation, which is an indigenous game federation, has those kind of resources or the wherewithal. So, government of India must come forward. If our games have to be a part of the Commonwealth Games or the Asian Games or the Olympics, then they have to be promoted by government of India. So, financial resources required for that, for popularizing these games, for propagating these games, advertising these games, government of India is needed. Secondly, the missions of government of India globally must play a very proactive role. The federations should be looking at these missions as the nodal agencies for their introduction in those countries. And the foreign the Indian missions in all these countries must have a special desk for promoting indigenous games. So what they will do is they will liaise with the National Olympic Committee of those countries, with the sports ministries, with various federations, and that's how they will become facilitators in promoting these games globally. Let's hope. I have a lot of what do I say? Hope from the present political dispensation, including the two ministers, and I'm sure we'll be able to achieve this dream of ours.
Described it wonderfully, and the kind of marketing that to make it global through the TV, television, all about TRP. These factors really contributed a lot as well as the World Cup that recently concluded. Young not have a platform. इससे मिलकर या एक रास्ता नहीं मिलता. So there are people who want to make it really big. So do you have any plans bringing up a concrete, a plan where you can develop cocoa also in the remotest area?
We are present in roughly 580 districts of this country. So we have district championships, we have state championships, and then we have the national championship. Registration mechanism is very simple, very user friendly, and it has a lot of registration of players. As I said, one thing which has really given a head start to Kho Kho is the number of appointments of Kho Kho players in government jobs. That has really kick-started the interest in this game. You see, let's be very realistic. Our players come from very humble backgrounds.
Yes.
And for them to get a government job because of Kho Kho is something they could never have dreamt of. But today, having a large number of people being there for government, getting government jobs out of Kho Kho has really, really given them a dream which now looks very real to all of them. Now, this I think would a bring it down to the grassroots levels. B the district federations, the district associations would have a closer interaction and a closer tie-up with all the players who are looking for adopting Kho Kho as a
career. Yeah. Do you have any plans to spot the talents at the rural level, at the grassroots level, and then bring in a local bench strength for the sport? Mm.
and that is how you'll get the involvement of a huge amount of people in this game. I'm very proud to say that we are very gender neutral in the sense we have equal priority for both men and women, and to us that's a great I would say accomplishment, because we do not distinguish between men and women. So all our nationals, all our facilities, all our prize money, everything, there is at parity with the men and women.
Also, Sudhanshu, girls in this country are doing very well in terms of sports. Be it a Shaktiman, be it a Spina Deva, Sindhu, you name it, be it a Lavina Borgohain. So bringing in more girls to the sports is very important. So do you or your federation have any plans to rope in some more young girls?
I would say the showcasing of talent for Kho Kho has come from a girl player, Nasreen, from a very humble background, with a very conservative background, and goes on to not only captain the Indian team, but goes on to also uh, win the Arjun Award. So these are the examples which are inspiration for women. And seeing her getting all the rewards, awards, and seeing her on television, seeing her as a symbol of accomplishment, I think she's really encouraged a whole generation of girls who are now very avid Kho Kho players.
So what plans you have in the future?
The World Cup had the same number of teams. The Asian Championship had the same number of teams. The state championships have the same number of teams. We just finished nationals, so we had 37 teams from women team and 37 men team. So it is at parity, and it's thriving.
So what could be expected from the Coco cover in days to come?
I expect first Kho Kho to be a part of the Commonwealth Games, then be a part of the Asian Games in 30, and in 32 Olympics we should be there as a demo game at least. That is what you have to expect, and we'll make it a reality.
And how hard is your team trying out to popularize more the sport in other countries where it has not yet reached?
It is hard. It is certainly not an easy job, but the kind of support we've received from the entire country, it's phenomenal. If you've seen for the World Cup, we had the biggest film stars endorsing it. We had the biggest
So how is
players.
the Bollywood coming in together?
We have a Sachin Tendulkar, we have everybody endorsing it. Neeraj Chopra, we had Salman, we had Tiger Shroff, we had all the actresses. So the nation has adopted this as a part of their honor, of their prestige and pride. And that is what will really take it globally in a very definitive form.
Sudhanshu, on that note, thank you so much for giving me your time on my podcast, Breaking Barriers. This is a podcast where I discuss sports. Especially today, I discuss a lot about Indian Olympic sport.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure speaking to you. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.